G'day, beginners woodcarvers. Well, I'm just rolling myself a smoke because I'm one of those disgusting people that smoke. I've got my coffee and it's 9 p.m. I think Eastern time, but New York time. I look at New York. I've got it in my computer on the clock that tells me London and New York. I can only have 3 times. Hey John, how you going? Loving your woman. That's coming along well. That's going to be a few laughs, especially as you are doing ladies' bosoms. G'day, mate. That's going to have some bring out some of the lewder comments that generally tend to follow such things. Don't know why wooden boobs does that to people, but it seems to. Okay, I'm doing really well. G'day, Tammy. My mood is manageable. I'm not the bouncy, fun Tigger at the moment. That will come. Heading into colder weather, that generally tends to make me a little bit slower. Look at this. Da, 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 da. Just walk the dog, so I'm a bit warm. Oh. G'day, Corey. G'day, Brett. Everyone's turning up. Hey, David. Oh, yeah, Kane's coming along really, really well, David. That's bloody wicked. Wicked it is. Okay, so today I thought, having a great day. Today I thought I might mention the challenges that we do have that are sitting in our files and in our photo albums. I've put 2 links up under the title of this one today. You're more than welcome, and it's good to see you all. Okay, the Beginner's Woodcarver's Complete Beginner file. Now, if you happen to be a beginner, which all the names I'm seeing aren't, but that's okay. It's about 2,000 people that watch these in the end. Probably not all the way through, because an hour is too much. For you it is. Me, I just waffle on like there's no tomorrow. Well, there is no tomorrow, because I'll keep waffling, and I am in your tomorrow. It's 10:30 a.m. here, so that's a bit of running around, getting the dog walked, and me ready to do this. But here I am. And I'm inside today because it's not a very nice day out there. So much more comfortable for me. I'm at my computer. My computer is playing up a little bit, and I hope it doesn't fail, because if it does, then I'm back to just the phone, which I'm not familiar with using other than for doing some of the lives, and a really rubbish tablet. So if my computer fails, I won't be able to quite do what I've been doing in the group. I've been a little quiet for the last couple of weeks. Been carving myself. Well, not me carving me, because I have a glove on. But I have been doing the 26 different woods, which is an interesting exercise. And the other so challenges, the beginners carving, the complete beginners file, that leads to, even if you've been on here for a while, it's worth having a look, because there's some links in that file, and I've still got more to do on it. More links, more links within the group, because we've had discussions about finishes, we've had discussions, a lot of the information that people ask for, we actually have within our files and folders. So trying to promote those, bring people's attention to them. The files are there. I do know that in a lot of groups, the files and the photo albums aren't used. G'day, Tina. They aren't used like we use them in here. The files aren't comprehensive, because I can only write down what I know and learn as I learn it. I can't copy and paste, although I have done a couple of times. I really do have to rewrite the things so that I'm not copyright infringing. Copyright's a real pain in the bum. we talk about it every time, but it's because it causes me such a dilemma. I would like, previously to when the group was younger, I considered having lots of different patterns from lots of different places, and to me it's just a case of, if they're already on the internet and they're already there, then copy and pasting should not be an infringement of copyright, because it's on the bloody net. We can do a link to it, but then that doesn't write up. You're looking at a file and you're opening new pages, and so I have a pet hate with copyright. I understand it. I mean, if you do a design and somebody makes $1 million off of your design and you're sitting there poor, then we'd all arc up about copyright. But as long as we draw and we share in here our own stuff, then that won't be an issue so much. It is a legal thing. It's a legal area where I don't. G'day, Eddie. I don't get to see everything that's posted in the group, which surprises me. I have to go through the photo albums to see what's been posted. If it's been posted 10 hours ago for me, and I haven't talked to the person, well then of course Facebook's algorithms get involved, and that stops me from being able to see them. I find that odd. If I'm held accountable for the actions within the group, then I should be able to see everything that happens in the group. I shouldn't have to go searching for it, but I do. I guess we have to work with what we've got, and we do very, very well. Looking at the feed this last 2 weeks, g'day Nay, g'day Jimmy, good score on the Vice, bloody good things. Try not to say too often. Not easy, not easy. Mental oh dear. Okay, yes, so vices and not stealing things from other people. The vices, they're under $20. Mine is sitting on a board so that I can actually work off my lap. Everything is as good. G'day Fred, how you going? They are under 20 American dollars. I think somebody said that they picked one up as cheap as $14. I looked and saw them, and lots of them come out under 20. They are a very handy thing to have. Oh, I've been practicing my wood burning. Not very good at it yet, unfortunately. That's my first practice board, which it happens to be my Vice board. So I actually want to talk to some people. Do you find that for those that do wood burning, do you find that the heat is maintained through your tip, or do you find that the wood reduces do you find the wood reduces the temperature in the tip, which causes a variance in your burning? I start the line and it's big and bright and dark, but by the time I've even slowly moved along to the end, I found that I have a lot of variance. Okay, so it's practice. This happens on expensive units as well as cheap units. Eddie, I know that you do lots of burning, so you're probably the ideal person to ask. Wood will call it, yeah. Look, the science says to me heat is distributed, but I wasn't sure whether or not it was because I bought a cheap burner, or whether or not it was operator error rather than machine error. Cool, okay. Yeah, science sort of says, well, distribution of heat, you got a hot thing, it is going to distribute. How do you avoid the burn at the very beginning then, when it's really hot, before it cools down? Because that always gives me, well, like if it was an ink pen, I'd have an ink blot to begin with. Is it okay? Yeah, okay, good, sweet, thank you. That's answered my questions. I will persevere with it and continue to learn. A bloody good tool. I like the idea of being able to burn the carves, being able to enhance our carvings with burning. But it's we're beginners wood carvers, not beginners wood burners. But it comes in under the category of creativity. So bugger it, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, blow on the tip before you apply. Well, I've got to be excited to. Oh, you mean my mind is a gutter. My mum used to say, Colin, you have a 10-track mind. It all leads to the same place. Yes. Okay, Corey. Yeah, I did see your I did see your new car. You're doing so much better. Yes, it does. Cool. As I said, a cheap and nasty unit. It's got a couple of those with different tips. I've got two different guns, two different hand pieces. This was $75, Australian dollars. The ones I looked at in the wood shop were in excess of 250, and I, for a new toy, I wasn't willing to pay $250 for something, so I bought a cheap one, cheap Chinese one. That's why I asked whether or not it was causing issues. Yeah, Corey, I can see in your display picture your latest carving, and you're coming along very well. You keep up what you're doing, and you'll be running a group fairly soon. You're growing very well. No, Brett, it was just a case of my inexperience. It's the first time I've ever used a burner. I have started to watch some YouTubes and joined a pyrography group, and was overwhelmed by how great and wonderful, inspired. Yes, I don't find that people that do things really, really, really well, I don't find I'm intimidated. I find that the better a carving or a better a wood burning I see, it gives me a higher goal to achieve or aim for. So I see it as inspiration rather than as a deficit. So I've always done that. Even within the group, we have good carvers, advanced carvers, and we have beginners. The good carvers put up their pictures, and the beginners go, oh my god, I'll never be that good. Well, the good carver, the advanced carver, has said exactly the same. It's practice. As the wood burner has been mentioned, practice is it. Always comes down to that. Yes, the vices for $20, worth investing in, worth having a look at. The thing that I found the best about the you're burning everything, I can just imagine. The vices for under $20. The best thing that I found about the vice was as soon as I started using it, I used to, every time I carved, after I cut my finger, I'm not having a glove on, I found that there was a fear in me, an awareness that a slip can be very detrimental to your carving for the next few weeks while a finger heals. You can't hold the thing properly if you've got a bloody great cut on your hand. The vice takes away that, the fear, the tightening in the chest. Yeah, I don't know if you keep a wet sponge close by. Oh, cool. Yeah, good idea. Good idea. Excellent. Thank you. More yes, the tightness in the chest that I was finding that when I was carving and holding the carve, that the fear was almost palpable. It was in the chest, the awareness that I only have to slip with a stab. The amount of pressure that we put on the knives, when you're you can't always maintain carving away from yourself. There are times when the knife points towards your hand and a slip is going to stab you, or so the vice is bloody good for that. Stops that pressure in my chest. I hope it does so for you as well. Before I bought my $20 one, look at this piece of I decided to use a piece of wood that's just got ropes on it that enable me to raise and lower the coupling device with multiple screws to stop the ball from turning. And I got that far and thought, okay, I need to buy a vise to go on the top. And of course I found the wooden one, so the metal one. So just suggesting that that is it's how much it's relieved me of fear. So I do advise anyone to get them. They're relatively cheap if you're in the States on Amazon. I did see somebody post that they're only $10 in one of the wood stores. A little bit of searching. I looked in my wood store and they want $70 for the same thing. Yes, it's a better quality one, I agree, but for $20 it was worth a try and I'm happy with it. The different woods. I found that the really hardwoods, oaks and harder, they will carve with a knife, but it's slow. You can only take off such small slithers of the harder wood. That's where your Dremels come in. Use the Dremels to take out large chunks of wood if you can, like the sculpting depths of the eyes, the recesses of the face. If you're working on faces, I chose to do faces. I was going to do the ball challenge on all of the different types of wood, but then I thought, oh, that's a little boring. So doing all of the different faces and with different expressions, I can look at them just by a glance. I put all of the pictures up. You can see that the harder woods I haven't gotten anywhere near as deep as I have with the softer woods. It's a glance can tell you the carvability of that particular wood. I do have a lot more. I do have to source a fair few other types of wood. Alder isn't on there. Alder, yeah, alder isn't on there. Sassafras isn't on there. I've got hey Jerry, I've got to get some Bubinga and some Purple Heart. I know they're going to be power tooled. There's fortunately Otto's, our wood timber people, do have a really good range. I mean, I spent a lot of money on one big chunk of gelatin because that's my basswood. Outside of that, I spent about 125 Australian dollars. So I spent 100 American dollars on 30 different types of wood. The rock maple I didn't include in my lot because I misplaced the block that I got, and there's a couple of others that I just didn't. There's a beech that I have and a different one where I just didn't get. Okay, Corey, go on then, fire away with your question. Carving the mouth. What do you want to ask about carving mouths? Okay, taking a while to write it out. People saying, Brett saying hello to Jerry. You puckers. Yeah, have a look at that beginner's wood carvers, the complete beginner file. If you see a newbie coming up, it's on the pin post. I've actually put that, I think it's the second to last on the pin post, so it's easily found. And if I'm not around, that's the easy place to be able to copy and paste it from, to give to new people, so that when they say what knives, what wood, a lot of those questions are covered. It even tells them not locationally, but how they can find it. Wood turning stores generally tend to have it. Mine, as I said, with Otto's, has got a few more woods that I can access. It'll probably be another few weeks before I get down there and add to my collection. I have all of the pieces are basically under $5, I think, pretty much. I've got one or two that are a little bit over $5, but most of them are under $5, which I think for me to learn the difference in woods does help. Like you're down under accent mouse carving, craving procrastination, PP1 out this week. It's funny because my Australian accent actually has an English accent sitting underneath it. If I went to England, they'd go, "You're an Aussie." but here they say, "Are you a POM? Are you English?" So best of both worlds, I suppose. I spent 20 years growing up in the UK, and I've had 30 years in Australia, and I know which one I prefer. G'day, Ned. Sorry about bad connection. I don't know. This microphone tends to be a bit sometimes. Is it coming across relatively clearly for everyone else? Nobody else has mentioned it, so I guess the age of the internet, not always a good picture. Corey, you had a question about mouths. If you ask in here, okay, or you can put it up on the feed, send me a message. Sending me a message means other people don't get the answers to questions, so prefer things on the feed. My moustache holds the coffee. Mouths or mouse? Yeah, it's getting a little bit ratty. This tends to come and go with me. If you look through the last, well, now it's coming up. The end. Oh, good. The end of next month marks a year of me deciding to change the format of how Beginners Woodcarvers is done, and it's also the 26th of August is when we hit 1,000 people. So in under a year, we've added nearly 13,000 people. It's amazing. I know that of the 13,000, there's about 200 people that are active in the group, which kind of disappointed me in the beginning, but now I don't really mind so much. I was drinking coffee, just finishing off the coffee that I had. Oh, David, Jen's lean on me, the stuff you did in the school with the school children. I was beside myself. I thought, what a bloody good thing you did. Educating the younger people how to carve things for a good cause for the seniors. I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. And your tank cane is just so different, so out of the norm that I'm incredibly impressed. Love it. Good. Oh, hello, Mandalay. You've got me and you can see me. Gulp. You're doing well with the challenges, with the ball challenge and now the blade cover and the heart. So you're cranking along. Really happy to see that. I know that Dwayne and I have had a bit of a chat, and yeah, it could be. Flavor saver moustache. Yeah, food saver. Oh, look, there's the banana that I left earlier. So yes, the feed has been pumping along. We have a slight imbalance. We need some more of the beginners to be posting their the beginning of the journey, so that we're able to help them. A lot of people that have come into the group have started off as beginners and have evolved past the beginner stage. Although I consider that even the advanced carvers can still be beginners. There's so much to do. Like even me with picking up the wood burner and doing that for the first time. There are so many aspects and avenues with regards to wood carving that it's amazing, the variations of things that we're seeing. Well, because a lot of us have come along on the journey and are not the raw beginners, a lot of the posts are becoming a lot better. Uh, and I do know a couple of beginners that have said to me, I feel intimidated to put up my design or my carving because it just doesn't compare. Well, I think that the beginners, well, it's why I'm here. I would like to see more beginners showing their beginnings, because it enables the more skilled people to wow, that's a lot. It allows a lot of the more skilled people to assist, tell people where they're going wrong. I saw, I think it was it Tina's Sasquatch? Somebody put up a carving that they were trying to do as a wood spirit, and it ended up being yes, it was Tina. God, I'm getting good. It ended up being a bit Sasquatchy, and I noticed that Alicia said what was wrong with it, and I thought how good that was that somebody said okay here and there, and Tina responded very well to Alicia, and it was really good because there's information in there as to why it would end up being a Sasquatch rather than good. Complete beginner. I try to post my work for feedback to improve it. Yes, that's exactly what we do. Yes, but yeah, there was nothing wrong with your Sasquatch. It's if you did it again, it would be better. It looks like your brother. Well, it's actually starting to look a bit like me. But I'm in the wrong country to be a Sasquatch. I'd have to be a Yowie. But I liked that one, Tina, because it showed that you're trying. The hair was good. The features were good. The wood spirits are, to get facial features right, takes time. The eyes take time to learn how to actually get them. I mean, the lids, the way that the lids work, you have to look in the mirror a lot. My eyes are a bit bulgy, as you can see behind these glasses. So trying to get the bags underneath is because they're liquid filled. It's very hard to have a hard carving of them. So your Sasquatch, Tina, was excellent, excellent. Loved it. If you'd have put it up and said, here's my Sasquatch, everybody would have gone, oh, wow, what a wonderful Sasquatch. But being honest and saying that you were going for the wood spirit, yes, the moustache was missing. I don't do moustaches. I wear one, but I don't carve them very often. It is a way of hiding the mouth, and it's an easier way of hiding the mouth. So, well done. Well done. I bloody enjoy beginner start. It makes me look at them and I go, oh, wow, the potential that the person has, because every carving you learn something, that learning goes on to the next carving, and if you did something wrong, you know that what you did wrong. And oftentimes what we do wrong teaches us, wow, if I do that way and I incorporate that and I deliberately use it, then it works. That's how I'm self-taught, like most of us in here. A lot of beginners woodcarvers is my journey. I store all of the information that I think is valuable in the group. It's my storage area. I have bits of it in my computer, but it's easily accessed within the group. So I just add and store and try to make people aware of the fact that we've got files. Because, as I said, a lot of groups don't use the files, or they don't access that side of things, or they do it too much. And there's nothing worse than looking in for files, for looking for a piece of information, and there's 200 files to run through, which is why I'm doing the some of the files like the complete beginner, where it leads to everything, and eventually I will tie. I've got a file that says the best file in the directory, the best file in the best file in all of them. I think that's what it says, but it's a draft at the moment. Best document in the files. It's a draft at the moment. I haven't published it because it's baseline for me to be able to it's a baseline that enables me to go, okay, I need to link these files. I have to make it simple for people, simplify it also. 1 or 2 files accesses everything that we've got, and you're not having to wade through file after file after file. It's difficult. I've never done anything like this, so it's a big learning curve for me. I sit and I look and I go, I'm not a writer, I'm not a speaker, I'm not a TV celebrity, I'm not, this is uncomfortable. That's why I say so often. A little nervous, a little, maybe not. Maybe I love it and I just don't know that yet. But yes, the differences between running a group and doing the carvings. The last few weeks I've been more focused on carvings and gaining more experience. But I found that I've kind of come to a spot where I've got to find harder stuff for me to do. And I do look on YouTube a little bit, but I'm more, my ego says, do it yourself, learn your own way, do it your way. That way you're not copying somebody else's style. I can tell if somebody's been to art school, they do a carving, I can tell that they've been to art school just by a glance, because they're following the techniques taught to them, and those techniques are taught to all of the artists that go to art school, and it tends to have a similar flavour. Where the uniqueness that I see of, say, John's moon, that was brilliant. Well, Brett, if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have been alive today. So yes, I've got a fence post. I've got it sitting out in the shed, and I will be intending to do that. That's part of the reason why I bought the burner, Eddie. You bugger. It's your fault. You inspired me. But yes, harder carves. The book that was given to me for my birthday with the snakes in it, I've been messing around. I don't think I put that one up. I've been doing them in small scale, and that was me turning the wood burner on, and I completely blitzed it. There's no scales there. It's a piece of crap. But I got the snake's proportions and the pole. I was happy with that. That's my second one or third one, because I did a wand in apricot that was hard work, but came out as a snake. But the lady that gave me the apricot, I ended up giving the magic wand to. So yes, it's a model, it's a small scale, so I can look at that and go, okay, I want to do a big one of these, and I do want to do a big one. I've got the machinery, I've got the equipment, I've got the pole. I will be doing that probably after I've done the 26 heads. That will be my next thing, because one of the challenges, who was it that said, where are we? Dale said there's challenges. Yeah. One of the challenges is to do a cane, a walking stick. That was put in there originally because of Jen, for Lean on Me, to get people into the idea of walking canes or walking sticks, because once you can carve faces, and once you can carve some of the basics, then what do you do? What do we do? That's a really good question. When you can carve, what purpose is it that you're learning to carve? For me, I have a life that kind of came to an abrupt halt because of a back injury that stops me from actually working in the workforce. I'm unreliable. That puts me into, I don't do anything. I went crazy. I went insane with too much time on my hands and nothing to do. So for me, I started carving to give me something to do, something to specialize in, something to advance my artistic skills, because I was a painter. Always tried to paint 3D. So in the end, I decided 3D was the way to go. Me personally, I'm not looking at this point to selling, but then I'm slowly but surely amassing more and more and more carvings that I'll have to display them, or I'll throw them in the back of the cupboard. And throwing them in the back of the cupboard doesn't suit me. So a few more shelves, a few more places to put my carvings. But I guess in the end, you get good enough that it is a sellable a saleable hobby, pastime, obsession, passion, addiction, whatever you want to call it. All of the above for me. I can see that one day, yeah, but the goal. You've got a warped sense of humour, Dale. Yeah, so I guess the advancement is one day that once you've got your carvings are good, there's always going to be a market. Finding that market is very difficult. Your friends may buy from you. The bigger your network, the more sales that you're more likely to do. There are marketplaces. I guess one day we will probably link to some kind of the market system, so we might be able to sell, but I would say that that's probably 12 months plus down the road. It's not an area I'm familiar with. I have avoided sales because, well, it's just an area for argument and problems when you're trying to sell. It's an area where trolls decide to knock your self-confidence. A snake moustache is just a challenge. God, that would be a challenge. A moustache for a snake for a moustache. What made a moustache? Yeah, so I've been reading some old books written by carving masters to their apprentices, basically. That was interesting. I found that it did go very much into the purpose of the carvings in the 1900s was the majority of it was for the aristocracy, the royals throughout Europe. They have carvings done, but by skilled masters who have to jump through hoops and loops like crazy. They're not allowed to leave any marks. They have to use identical material. That means they sometimes have to source oak that's 200 years old or 300 years old to do a repair. But relief carvings, things to hold shelves up, that seemed to be the majority of the carvings or statues, generally for churches or the aristocracy. But then, of course, you've got the markets in the States, which are a lot of that is Santas for the Christmas trees, and a whole range of elves on a shelf. We do a lot of wizards. We do a lot of old man and spirits. They're there. Yeah. Look, looking through what that book showed was just gobsmacking. It's like, wow. There is a basic apprenticeship, if you like, following the book. He's quite firm in the fact that modeling, drawing and carving, when you model something you start to understand the 3D form. When you're drawing it, it's the basic idea with a little bit of shading. The second one is the modeling, where you get clay or wax or whatever, and you make a basic shape of what you're going to do, and then the actual thing. This way you can actually show people what you intend to do, end result. So if you're selling something, by having somebody commission something, you have the ability to say, well, do you want this or do you want that in the model form? And the guy was quite adamant that all three go hand in hand, and if you use all three, okay, no worries, Corey, you get back to me with your question about nails. Yeah, so the modeling side of things is what it's kind of like using your brain as a muscle. Drawing, modeling and carving all go so hand in hand that the more you do the other two outside of the carving, the better your carvings are going to be, because the mental image of a 3D object becomes more viable, more capable of doing so. That was an interesting book. I'm searching for more. I kind of focused on the 26 heads, and I've been basically carving them all day, every day, little bits here, little bits there, watching the feed, helping the group where I can. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's just what a wonderful obsession we have. And here you are on a Friday night, and it's 9:40, listening to some idiot down under. That'd be me. But Brett mentioned that going live is really good because it enables some really good questions to come out, some communications, and the fact that it's not just a group that people just post. It is actually a group where the beginning is our main focus. If a new person comes in, the amount of help that comes forward from you guys, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I love it. I sort of felt a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, I did feel that maybe I wasn't suitable for this, and I had a bit of a teetering on the line of. But then when I said to myself, okay, I'm just going to do less. What I tend to do when I say I'm not going to, I can't leave the group alone. I come back. Now, Corey, so my question about mouth is, I know the top lip tilts back towards the nose. Which way does the bottom lip and chin go? Well, profiles, you can see that there's the lip comes up to the top lip. It comes down to the jawline, the bone structure underneath. When you look at a skull, these part is pushed forward, which is why your lip is forward. The bottom jaw usually comes in underneath those teeth, so the lip is slightly further back than the top lip. It has a dip underneath the lip, and then it curves outwards for the chin, because the jaw connects up here and comes down. Corey, have a look at a few pictures of skulls and see how the bone structure is. Then imagine that is covered with stuff, lip, skin. The thickness of the skin is only, the lips are like, I don't know, 10 mil, 3/8 wide. The bottom lip is more like, what would that be? I don't use fractions and imperial anymore. 7/16, 3/8. Oh no, 7/16 is a fraction bigger. It'd be 5/16. Yeah, maybe 5/16 thick. So the lip butts up against underneath, a little bit further back, and you got that dip, and then the chin comes out. The whole chin part, when you look at the skull, the skin over the top. This is why, like the guy saying, to model with clay. If you were to play, I often go, okay, I'm going to carve a skull, and then I'm going to use a moldable substance like clay, wax, something like that, where I'll heat it up and I'd go over the skull to see how that sits. And I've done that. I did that years ago. But it's a way of seeing. But have a look at pictures of people's profiles, and you'll see from the side exactly how it goes. Let me show you something. Excuse me. Oh, there goes me. Oh, I lost the bloody magnet. I don't want to catch the light. Okay. I use this from time to time. Do you see how the lips go? You've got the muscles, which I look at the muscle structure and the anatomy underneath it, but you've got the bone comes up and the cheekbone, the jawline goes through, and then you've got that sticks out a little bit. The lips are lower than the tip of the chin and the tip of the nose, but about halfway they come out. It's very close. Something like this is handy to have as a reference. I look at this and I go, oh, okay, that's the muscles that I've got to be aware of. When you're doing expressions, understanding how those muscles all work together, which is why a real smile you can see in the eyes, because well, the muscles of the cheekbones have gone up. But that's hopefully helpful to you. Now I'm at about the end of this particular live. Any more questions? Not that I could necessarily answer them without the internet, which I most often do. I've learned by having you guys ask questions. I don't know the answer, so I go looking, and I won't stop until I find an answer that I'm satisfied with. So I learn the answer to your questions for myself, and of course I share the answer with you as and when I can. But you guys do it too. You guys put up so much information. That's why I'm now starting to link when people ask about certain questions. I'm actually linking people to previous questions, previous discussions, because all the information is there. And you guys know between us all, like the thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of life experiences that we have as a collective. It's just astounding. We are a walking library of this stuff. Can I send the picture? Yeah, I can take a photograph of it, and I can't scan it, but I will. I can take a photo of it and send it to you. Yeah, not a problem. And oh, you're most welcome. The lives are something that I'm having to get used to more than anything else. Having a subject material, being able to come on here and actually do an instruction, I suppose, rather than just waffle. The waffle that's the bit that stresses me, because well, I waffle to hide the fact that I'm stressed. I waffle all the time. My mum used to just say, Colin, you're a chatterbox, now shut up. Just want to say thanks. Great, helpful people here. Yes. Hey, look, this group wouldn't be the group that it is without you. You are what makes the group. Okay, I'm sitting in the big chair and I do these, and I try to make sure that the group is comfortable, entertained. We grew up with televisions, and our generation more so than the generation prior to us. We've had television and entertainment throughout our lives. So doing a live on here is really accessing some of the fact that we're used to people telling us face to face on television, because everybody likes, oh yeah. But being able to actually ask questions at the same time is brilliant. Being able to communicate with you. It's a shame that it can't be done like as a group conference, but then too many people, it would be too hard to good. Having the people in the group that like it. I mean, I don't go anywhere else really. I mean, I've just expanded. I put a post up in Pyrography saying how wonderful I thought it was, and I got, oh, you'll do well. Keep practicing. I heard the same sort of advice that I would get from this group, and I thought, hang on a minute, I'm not new to the internet, and I'm not new to groups. It was a very nice warm welcome. It was my first post in there, and I got some nice advice back, which was great. Some of the other groups are useful if you like, when you want to learn, like me, I want to learn pyrography, so join the pyrography group. I'll adhere to their rules. I'm just a member in there. As I grow, accessing their photos is for me. I looked in their files. They haven't got many. They've got about the same amount of people in the group as we do. There wasn't much in their files in the way of information, and that's kind of what made me realize that people don't necessarily, they're just not aware that files is where a lot of information is kept. I talked to my daughter about it yesterday, and she said, yeah, well, Dad, if you'd have said that this is a beginner's wood carving resource group, you may have had more people that would access the files and be aware of them. So I thought, well, in the live, I will mention the files multiple times. I'll put up there that there's a couple of links. I'll tell you that they're on the pin post. Building up on more information in there will happen as time goes on. Thanks, Brett. Yes. Yeah, I would imagine that it would. You've learned very well. I haven't seen any of your stuff other than burnings on your snakes, but I mean you've learned. Your scales are just, they're outstanding. Well, we're at 50 minutes. I said I wasn't going to make it an hour. We made it 50 minutes. God, I can just talk a whole load of shit, can't I? All right, guys, I am going to call this quits here. Any last questions? He looks expectantly. No. Well then, I'm going to say safe and happy carvings. Keep your glove on. Make sure you don't cut yourself. 0 injuries would be lovely. Not likely, but bloody lovely. Remember, Amazon have the vices under 20 bucks. Worth it. Even if you don't use it all the time, still worth it. Have a glue gun though. I did a little video of showing how to use it. And a hot glue gun is really handy to be able to. That little piece of wood is hard to hold in the vise and actually carve. That's Osage orange. So all I did was just use the hot glue gun and stuck a piece that I can stick in the vise. So a hot glue gun to go with the vise is bloody helpful. And on that note, my orange has gone. Well, I suppose it will stop when it runs out of juice. Oh, I've gone blurry. I've had too much to drink. Yes, now, as it's Friday night, have a look at the challenges. If you haven't done any of them and you want to, that's what they're there for. I think all of the challenges now, basically, they're all linked. Oh, there's me orange, it rolled, run out. Forgotten. The links to every challenge in the file of challenges has a link that links you to the photo albums, and that is where the pictures of what you carve for that challenge are stored. Try to upload them actually into the file rather than into the comments. But if you can't work that out because the different platforms make it difficult, I will at the end pick them up, put them in the group. Now it will say that I posted it, but you'll be tagged in it. And that way, any comments on it, because you're tagged in it, you're going to be notified. I can't do it where I put it in there as your name. That just doesn't work that way. I tidy up. It's not that I mean to upset anybody. I did get into trouble one day for not asking to move a photo from one place to another, and I got a bit butthurt by the fact that I got pulled up for housekeeping. That person unfortunately didn't make it into the folder in the end because I just went, well, look, if people are going to be upset that I'm moving a photo from there to there and it's still within the group, too hard. Jumping through everybody's hoops and loops, not always easy. Anyway, guys, safe and happy carvings, and I really love to see you on the feed. Notice I keep my bald head covered. Later, guys. And Corey, I'll be sending that to you now. Oh, I've got to push more buttons. If you end this live video now, you'll be able to choose if you want to save or delete it. Well, we're not going to delete it. I just spent 54 minutes making the bloody thing. God, Facebook and its freaking buttons. Adios, guys.